So Anthony Joshua knocks out Jake Paul in the sixth round. Let's talk about it. So this fight went pretty much as I expected. Jake Paul from the opening bell was looking to survive. He was moving around the ring, which by the way was gigantic. It's probably one of the biggest rings I've seen in a professional boxing match. And a lot of people thought that AJ would come out and just stick it on Jake Paul from the first round and get him out of there. If you watched my sort of prediction video on this fight where I went through Jake Paul's resume, Anthony Joshua's resume to compare where I think he is with the previous opponents of AJ, you know that I said he'd stop him between the fourth and the sixth round. And that's pretty much what happened. Early on, Jake Paul was just running. Whenever AJ got close, he held him. And that just made it so difficult for AJ to find his range. Like, a lot of people just think AJ should have just gone in there, started winging punches away, but that's just not how AJ fights. You know, he's not like Chisora, who's a bit quicker on his feet. Well, when Chisora was younger, he was quicker on his feet and would throw a lot of punches. AJ's always had slow feet. AJ's never really been a pressure fighter. And he's in there against a guy who's running. No Anthony Joshua opponent has moved this much against him. Jake Paul was petrified really in there, and for good reason. I didn't think Jake Paul really won a round. I mean, he was in survival mode from the first round really. He landed a few shots here and there. I think it's hard the way people are criticizing AJ because they just don't realize how hard it is to look good against a smaller guy who's moving to the extent where it's not even boxing anymore. I mean, that first round was pathetic, really. I mean, Jake Paul was doing laps around the ring. And people will say, well, AJ should have cut off the ring, but AJ's never been a pressure fighter, you know. AJ is a good fighter. I think his best days are behind him, but he's a boxer, puncher. He's not a pressure fighter. He doesn't do everything great. He's not good at cutting off the ring. He doesn't have fast feet. And we knew this before the fight, so it just was quite surprising to me that many people thought AJ was just going to go in there and start letting shots go. I mean, if this was Daniel Dubois or someone, I would have said, yeah, he knocks out Jake Paul within a round or two. Dubois, very energetic, very youthful, very aggressive. AJ is not really an aggressive fighter. And Jake Paul didn't come to fight. If Jake Paul stood in the center of the ring and they were actually boxing, and if Jake Paul was actually moving but not running, yeah, he would have got knocked out a lot earlier. But anyone with any knowledge of boxing knew what Jake Paul's strategy was going to do. Surprisingly, AJ in the post-fight said he didn't expect Jake Paul to move that much, which surprises me. I mean, surely they would have known this was going to be his strategy, and they would have prepared that way for Jake Paul. According to AJ, his sparring partners were fighting him and they were trading shots. I mean, you've got to question even the Usyk camp. I mean, like, did they even really do their homework? I mean, to me, it was abundantly clear that Jake was just going to come in here and do laps around the ring and then just hug on to Mayweather, hug on to Joshua whenever he could, and then throw a big shot here and there. But after the first 3 rounds, Jake wasted a lot of energy, was slowing down. AJ was very slow to begin with. I think AJ actually could have got him out of there earlier. He started a bit slow. It took him about two rounds to really start throwing shots. And part of that would have been because AJ, you know, he's just come off a knockout loss to Daniel Dubois. And anyone who knows AJ and the psychology that he has, he's a very sort of measured fighter. He's not going to go and take any silly risk. Even against a guy like Jake Paul, he can't really harm him. After coming off a knockout loss, I mean, when you see the patterns in AJ's career, whenever he's had a loss or he's got knocked out, he's come back very cautiously. I mean, just go watch the Jermaine Franklin fight. AJ was scared of his own shadow in there. And now he's coming off the most horrific knockout of his career, 15 months out of the ring. in a fight that if he had gotten dropped or hurting, forget about losing. Even if he had got hurt or dropped, people would have AJ would have never heard the end of it. So I'm not too critical of AJ. This fight played out pretty much exactly as I thought. I think the only thing that surprised me a little bit was how much Jake Paul moved in there. I mean, my word, he was doing laps around that ring the first 3 rounds. I mean, he slowed down a bit in 4 and 5, and that's when AJ started to get shots off. He dropped Jake Paul a few times with some cuffing shots and some body shots, and then the 6th round when he got knocked out was the first clean shot that he took. It broke his jaw in 2 different places. He'd probably be eating out of a straw for the next few weeks. Don't know how that impacts Jake Paul's career, if you want to call whatever he's doing right now in boxing that. But look, credit to Jake in the sense that he signed up for this fight, and I'm gonna be honest, like I do like Jake Paul. I do think he's good for boxing. I think he's actually quite a funny guy, but yeah, I think the boxing fraternity aren't gonna give him any respect after this. I mean, you came in and you just did laps around the ring, mate. I mean, if he had come in and got knocked out in 3 or 4 rounds, but actually fought AJ, not fought him like went toe to toe with him, but moved and boxed and did a little bit, and then you got knocked out. You know what I said? Fair play. Like you 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 came to actually fight here and actually box the guy, but yeah, just doing laps around the ring. I mean, I think people who maybe don't follow boxing that much might not realize just how difficult it is to pin someone down who's just in constant motion. AJ could never really set his feet or find his distance to let any of his shots go. It's I don't know, I think it's like a football team where they've probably got like 10 people in defense. It's just hard to break that down. It's just they're not even coming to win, like if there's no offense, like Jake knew that if I trade or if I throw a lot of punches, I'm going to get countered with a shot I don't see, and then I'm going to get knocked out cold. Even the last knockout blow, he managed to see it coming. So, yeah, it broke his jaw in 2 different places, but if he didn't see that shot coming, he would have been in a much worse place, and maybe he could have beat the count, but a wise move from Jake. He was done. He'd been dropped a bunch of times. We're not going to hold him to the same regard as like Muhammad Ali, who got his jaw broken and fought 15 rounds with a beast like Ken Norton, or Jai Opetaia, who got his jaw broken and fought on for 6 rounds. So, yeah, I think Jake showed a fair amount of toughness, and his gravy train can continue. He can go on. He can fight Gervonta Davis, Tommy Fury. There's still a lot of money fights out there for him. For AJ, yeah, he can fight on. I think we don't learn anything from AJ. I mean, AJ in my eyes hasn't been elevated, or he hasn't gone down in this fight. It's not like we learnt something new about AJ. It's just what we already knew. He's not a pressure fighter. He doesn't have quick feet. He'll probably fight Tyson Fury next. Might have another tune-up earlier in the year. But we still don't know where AJ is. We don't. I think his best days are past him, but I don't know how short he is. And we didn't really learn anything from this fight. It's hard to tell. His last proper fight, obviously excluding this with Jake Paul, was Daniel Dubois, where he was brutally knocked out. So it's interesting if the Fury fight gets made. I've always picked Tyson Fury to beat Anthony Joshua, regardless of what happened in this Jake Paul fight, and even regardless of what happened in the Daniel Dubois fight. I've always felt like Fury's style was all wrong for him. I mean, partly because of what we saw in this Jake Paul fight, to the extent that AJ isn't a pressure fighter, he hasn't got quick feet, and to beat Tyson Fury, he's going to have to be on the front foot, and he's going to have to apply pressure. Now, obviously, Tyson Fury isn't going to run like Jake Paul. He's going to come there and he's going to actually try to win and actually box Joshua and move and set up punches. So there was going to be more opportunities for AJ in a Tyson Fury fight, but Fury's a bigger man. He's got a better chin. He's a light years better boxer than Jake Paul. I mean, I don't think it needs to be said. So he's going to be in there with someone you could actually do damage to him. And it's going to be interesting to see what AJ looks like when he's in there with someone like that. But yeah, no surprises here. If you watch the video I made prior to the fight, I think it pretty much went like what I said in that video. I said people are going to be booing and stuff, and it's going to be a very negative fight from Jake Paul, and it was that. So yeah, if you want more good boxing content, there's a lot of fights coming up. I'm gonna try to post more to this channel, and yeah, I mean that's really what you'll get here. You'll get a no nonsense breakdown. You've probably seen a lot of other prediction videos where they said, "Oh, AJ's gonna knock him out in a round or two or three," but I think when you actually take the emotion out of it and you look at the fights and that's what this channel's really about. Yeah, so stay tuned for more good prediction videos. And I'll catch you guys next time.